At this key moment, a student walked confidently into the Shrek Exchange Center. He asked at the reception to post a message about the secret they didn't know, the hidden trump cards of the freshmen in the Leapfrog Challenge. He set the prize for one subscription as one white insignia and prepared to leave. As he turned, the woman at the reception hurried after him and questioned if his information was accurate. He assured her it was true and urged her to act quickly. He mentioned that the odds against the freshmen had dropped to 1 to 5 and insisted she post the message before it was too late. With a smile, he thought about the reward, confident he'd earn at least a dozen yellow insignias. He felt pleased with Xuanyu's ability to make a profit. With just 1 minute before the battle was about to start, Dean Luohong was in her office, focused on her messages. Her face grew serious as she learnt that the first-year students had revealed new trump cards. She got frustrated and wondered why she hadn't been told sooner. She immediately instructed her assistant to place a bet of 10 purple insignias on Lan Xuanyu's team, realizing she needed to reduce the risk. The arena was buzzing with excitement as the speakers announced the freshmen's arrival. Xuanyu's team walked into the stadium, catching everyone's eye. Lei looked around and saw the seats were packed with eager fans. The speaker then announced the seniors, and Yuge's team entered the arena. Xuanyu teased her about the bet she made and joked that they could make a fortune by pretending to lose. Yuge, however, replied confidently that his taunts wouldn't affect her, and she was sure they would win this time. Despite the playful talk, Xuanyu knew they had placed a big bet on themselves, and winning was no longer just a choice but a necessity. As the countdown to the fight began, Xuanyu, as the captain, urged his team to move forward with a firm command. The moment the battle started, they jumped into action. Xuanyu sent out a glowing blue rope of light towards the enemy team. Xiu charged ahead with speed while Feng rushed in with his spear. Hui prepared his bow and fired an array of arrows towards the opposing side. The arrows flew towards Xian, who quickly responded. With a sweep of his hand, he raised a defensive barrier that blocked the arrows and smashed them apart. He strengthened the shield around himself and got ready to block the next attack. Xuanyu watched closely and saw how strong Xian's defenses were, knowing it would be hard to get through. Xiu charged forward and sliced through the air with precision. In that brief moment, her eyes met with Xian, a silent challenge between them. Xian swung his axe with great force, but Xiu easily blocked the attack and slipped past him. As she moved, an icy wind started to swirl around Xian and covered him in a chilling mist. Yuge watched everything from a distance and quickly understood Xiu's plan that she was trying to cut Xian off from his team and set up for a combined attack. She felt frustrated as she knew this might be risky. Xian was no ordinary opponent, and underestimating him could be dangerous. Nearby, Lei summoned his Millennium Iron Black Dragon with a fierce roar and ordered it to charge and knock Xian off balance. The dragon charged with great force, but Xian held his ground strongly. A yellow aura mixed with black surrounded him as he raised his axe and brought it down with a powerful blow. The dragon shattered instantly as it was destroyed in one strike. Xuanyu and Lei stood in shock, unable to believe what they just saw. While Xian's sharp gaze fixed on them, Lei muttered in disbelief as he asked Xuanyu what to do next, but Xuanyu had no answer as he was lost in thoughts. Yuge smiled at them as she knew Xian had been their hidden card all along. Someone behind Xuanyu shouted for them to fall back, but he stayed focused on the battle. Meanwhile, Hui kept firing arrows from the other side, and Yuge's team quickly raised their defenses to block them. She assessed the situation and unleashed a bright energy, the mutual generation of the 5 elements, as she focused on the power of fire to light up the battlefield and clear the fog. Within the icy mist, Xian moved closer to Xuanyu. People in the crowd shouted warnings as they urged Xuanyu to retreat and hide, but he stood his ground. With eyes filled with resolve, he charged straight at Xian. In the crowd, a boy wondered what Xuanyu was thinking by rushing at Xian, a 5-ring soul master known for his powerful attacks. But Xuanyu didn't hesitate. His eyes were set with determination, and as he charged, Xian locked eyes with him, both driven by the same fierce spirit, ready to face each other head-on. Xian swung his axe with all his strength as he aimed to strike Xuanyu, but Xuanyu quickly deflected the attack and countered with his own move. His hand, shaped like a dragon's claw, slashed through the air toward Xian. The crowd held their breath as the attack landed and left scratches on Xian's chest, with blood starting to seep from the wounds. Xuanyu stepped back, a powerful dragon's form seeming to shadow him with its roar shaking the air around them. Xian froze in his place as he found himself overwhelmed by the force of Xuanyu's power. In a surprising move, Xuanyu placed his hand on Xian's wounded chest. A mix of blue energy and red flames began to form there, and then he suddenly disappeared into the air. Moments later, a powerful explosion erupted, which sent Xian flying backward. The crowd was shocked. One observer gasped at the sudden turn of events, while another exclaimed in disbelief that Xuanyu, with just 3 rings, had managed to take down Xian, who had 5. Lei's assistant watched the scene on the screen, still confused by what she saw. Xian had been blown away by a freshman. She glanced over at him and noticed the golden glow of his soul rings, 8 of them, and wondered why he had suddenly released them. Lei replied that he wasn't sure himself, but there was something familiar about Xuanyu's abilities. She pointed out that not only did Xuanyu's abilities seem similar to his, but even their appearance was oddly alike. She teased him as she suggested that Xuanyu might be his long-lost son. Lei, however, reminded her to think about Xuanyu's age and how long she had known him. She laughed it off and told him that she was just joking, but still found it odd how Jian, a strong power attacker, could have been so easily beaten. Lei, still focused on the screen, noticed Jian getting back on his feet and thought that maybe his abilities weren't just about power after all. Meanwhile, Yuge stepped forward as her power built up and stood next to Jian. She called out his name as he activated his 10,000-year soul ring. The strength of his attack created a powerful aura that spread out like a massive fan. The 5 freshmen caught in its path were thrown into the air, unable to fight against the force. Xuanyu, within the air, felt dizzy as his soul power quickly drained. He realized this attack wasn't just about strength. It was a carefully planned and powerful technique. Lei's assistant asked him if the recent move was a control skill. He agreed and explained that even his clash with the Ironback dragon was a control skill. Otherwise, the dragon would have been thrown sideways instead of upward. As Yuge jumped into the air, glowing with a pink aura, Lei remarked that the outcome would depend on how the freshmen managed this tough situation. Yuge took the chance and urged her team to give their best. With the Li brothers putting on defense armor, she prepared to strike and told her team to finish the fight. They charged towards their 5 opponents. From the stands, a spectator worried about the freshmen and said it looked like the leapfrog challenge might end badly for them. Suddenly, the scene changed dramatically as a mysterious creature's eyes glowed with an eerie light, and Yuge turned to see Xiu Shu standing before her, using her powerful 10,000-year soul skill, Dark Blue Gaze. She was shocked, as she wondered how Xiu Shu could have such a skill on her own, as it was once thought to be a fusion skill between her and Xuanyu. Adding to the confusion, the Dark Blue Gaze's effect was weak because of Xian's skill. Its impact was very brief. However, in that brief moment, Hui Hui took advantage, and he used his power, the King of Bloodline's reincarnation eyes, and charged towards the opposing team. As Hui Hui called upon the power of his King Elf bloodline, his reincarnation eyes gleamed with a mysterious force. Yuge's teammates stared in shock as they were caught off guard by this unexpected turn of events. She narrowed her eyes as she wondered when Hui Hui had learnt mental shock skills. She considered her opponent's growing strength and thought about the possibilities. Nearby, Xuanyu noticed her hesitation and saw it as the right time to act. He signaled his team to shift the battle in their favor. Feng charged through the swirling ice mist as he focused his attention on Yuge. He moved quickly and closed the distance with ease. Yuge jumped into the air as she tried to avoid his first strike, but Feng didn't give up. He kept chasing her, using his powerful martial soul, the White Dragon Spear. With a single motion, he attacked 3 times, and the spear's white glow cut through the air. The clash echoed through the arena, and a spectator exclaimed in surprise as they noted that Feng had lifted Yuge into the air. Though she was their strongest opponent, Feng's attack, while not enough to seriously hurt her, managed to temporarily hold her back, which surprises the crowd to some extent. Lei watched Feng and told him that he wouldn't let him take all the credit. He then called his partner, Golden Fatty Qian, and merged with it. This powerful fusion showed how much he had improved during his long break. With a burst of energy, Lei jumped towards Li Siki, along with his Emerald Demon Bird. The crowd felt amazed that Lei dared to face Siki, whose martial soul was the mighty Black Tortoise. From her room, Luo Hong watched with pride as she felt impressed by how her disciple skillfully controlled 3 soul masters. Meanwhile, Meng Qian exchanged a serious look with Xiu Shu as she signaled that it was time to act and surprise their opponents. The crowd roared in excitement, with one spectator praising the freshmen and saying they were living up to the hype. The cheering was loud, which showed that the battle was thrilling and worth watching. On the other side of the field, Yuge was frustrated. Her team had lost control, and she worried that if things kept going this way, her team would be defeated one by one. She decided that taking down Xuanyu was the key to winning. If she could defeat him, his team would fall apart and victory would be hers. She ordered her teammates, Li Siki, Li Ximing, and Sima Xian, to focus on eliminating Lan Xuanyu. Seeing the danger around Xuanyu, Hui Hui called on his King Elf bloodline's 5th soul skill to protect his brother. A bright yellow light flashed as Hui Hui fired an arrow, determined to disrupt his opponent's plans. Siki instructed his twin brother Ximing to use the Iron Fortress, but he was frustrated by how difficult Lei was to deal with. Yuge dismissed Hui Hui's attacks as ineffective, as she believes that they couldn't penetrate their strong defense. As Hui Hui put on his Thunder Soul battle armor, his powerful light impressed the twin brothers, and made them wonder if his second martial soul awakening had given him extra strength. Yug then ordered Xian to break through Xuanyu's battle armor. Xian used his fifth soul skill, Dark Golden Inferno, and attacked Xuanyu from one side, while the twins surrounded him with their black tortoise shields from behind. Yugi moved in from the front and coldly declared that Xuanyu had no escape. Xuanyu's face showed worry as a gust of wind swirled around him. Yugi taunted him as she suggested that he was trying to use wind to escape and said he couldn't get past the black tortoise shield. She then charged at him as she found him trapped. The woman questioned why Yugi was so focused on Xuanyu, who was just a 3-ring soul master and seemed likely to lose. Lei said to her that Xuanyu was actually setting a clever trap. The woman was doubtful as she asked how someone with only 3 rings could face 3 5-ring soul masters.